For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of USC's 38-21 victory over the Oregon State Beavers. It wasn't the cleanest game for USC tonight, but it was a win. And after the week that the Trojans have had, a win is what they needed. What do you take away from this game, Dan?
Yeah, they had to be able to run the ball, and they did. And I think they were thrilled to death with 300 and some yards rushing. With aca'cedric Eure breaking his career record, Vavai Malapai breaking his career record, a couple of really long runs for aca'cedric. Just everybody loves him. You couldn't be happier for him. The offensive line couldn't be happier for themselves and for the running backs. And so I think that's the big takeaway tonight, was that you have to be able to run the ball against this team. They're not very good against the run. And they were able to do that, and that's the big takeaway. They were in trouble there a little bit, and they had a 21-0 lead that they give up in the second quarter, and played really not well at the end of the first half, and then they were up 28-21 and gave Oregon State a couple of chances to tie the game, and the defense stepped up, and then the offense closed it out, but. So it wasn't perfect. This isn't a great team for Oregon State. They're a little better than they were at the beginning of the year. But any road win is a good win after losing their home win streak last week. Just getting anything on the road, even against Oregon State, considering the alternative, this is a good night that way.
Yeah. As you mentioned, a career-high 205 yards for aca'cedric Eure and a career-high 3 touchdowns for him. For a guy who's waited kind of in the wings in the depth chart as his time as a Trojan, how good is it for him to get a night like this tonight?
Good enough for him to immediately call Ronald Jones on the phone, and he said, couldn't get him to answer, but he was excited about it, and he ought to be. And, the players, you can't not like him and Vavai, they just work so hard at it, and you could see a little bit tonight what these guys can get done if you give them a little chance. And they haven't had that much of a chance in so many games this year. And that's too bad. I mean, the offensive line obviously has underperformed. If they'd have underperformed tonight, it would have been really, really bad news. They didn't. It doesn't mean that much moving forward other than you got through tonight. And you didn't have a disaster. But they got to improve. They're going to play a pretty good Cal defense next week. Obviously, UCLA at the Rose Bowl going to be, they're not going to, just let USC do whatever they want. And then we've got Notre Dame. So they've obviously got to get better. Yeah. But tonight at least gives them a chance to not think, the season's over. I mean, you couldn't lose this game. Yeah. I mean, you probably couldn't come in here and not play well. In terms of some of the things you had to do. And run the ball and block the run were two of the things you had to do tonight, and they did that.
Yeah. What do you make of this defensive performance tonight? I think this is the first time in this whole season that USC's defense actually had a 3-touchdown lead, and then all of a sudden you look up and Oregon is too close for comfort if you're a USC fan. What do you make of this performance?
Some really good things against the run early, -9 yards in the first half. And whenever Oregon State, except for when they put in the running quarterback, USC didn't seem to pick up on that. Most of the USC, defended the run, pretty well. And you couldn't quite understand the second half why Oregon State was going to the run. But, give USC credit there, especially, the interior, the defensive line, I thought played the run really well. As far as some of the things they did in the soft pass coverage, not so good. Just allowed too many, again, third down conversions are just off enough to allow somebody to complete it in front of you. They had one play where there wasn't a USC defender within 20 yards of Hodgkinson when he caught the ball down the middle. Luckily, couldn't outrun him. They had the angle on him. But I don't think I've seen anybody this year on any team that wide open over the middle. I mean, it's like, did they have 10 guys on the field? 9 guys? What? So there were some things in the secondary that they got to get cleaned up, and they got some injuries tonight, just bumps and bruises, but they didn't have everybody out there all the time. Jenny Harris still learning, the position at safety, although he made maybe the biggest play on defense in the bat down. there on that fourth down play where, Oregon State went for it and couldn't get it. But defense, good and bad.
Yeah. This is Clay Helton's first night returning as play caller for USC. When we asked the players, they said that the calls came in a little faster, but not too much different. There wasn't an overhaul of the offense. Dan, what did you take away? What were the changes from tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got to go faster against Oregon State. So that may have happened no matter what. But that was, one thing here. I don't think there was much of a change. As Clay said, T was my eyes and ears upstairs. He did a wonderful job for me. JT Daniels said, "Hey, it's the same offense. It wasn't any different. You're not going to come up with different plays or anything." So I don't know. If you'd have been watching this game and didn't know there was a change in play callers, you would not have known that there was a change in play callers. There was just, and you didn't expect that. I mean, they weren't going to do any, as Clay likes to say, they weren't going to reinvent the wheel this week. They just wanted to try to get everybody on the same page. I think the game plan was such that the O-line felt like they really knew what they were doing this week. And probably give a little credit to Tim Drebno in terms of they seemed to do well on the double teams and the combination stuff. And then I think as things got going, you saw more people really getting to the second level and giving those running backs a chance if they, got the big seam at the line of scrimmage. Then they got to that next level and they had people helping them. People were down there. So guys I think, got caught up in, this is cool if we can do this. Again, it's Oregon State. What does it mean? But at least it means if you really go after it and go hard and go fast, good things will happen. Now you got to do that in every other game.
Yeah. As far as injuries go, Stephen Carr left the game in the third quarter due to a foot/ankle injury. He was carted off the field. He did give a thumbs up to USC fans as he was carted off. Yeah, Dan actually saw him walking past with a little bit of a limp after the game, so I think that will be to be determined. And then Michael Pittman left in the first quarter after stretching out and diving for a ball. Trainers were looking at his left shoulder at some point, and then he returned in the third quarter in street clothes. But Helton said that we'll get an update on both of those on Sunday night during his conference call. But as far as filling in for those injuries, Devin Williams, the true freshman wide receiver, was the unsung hero of tonight. He had his first career catch and first career touchdown tonight. Good day for him tonight.
Yeah, and one of the things that I said in the notes through the game is that he's practiced like that. And I'm not sure if I've heard this somewhere. You kind of play like you practice, and he practiced really well the last 2 weeks, I think. And so he was ready. Yeah. And as JT, his roommate, said, he didn't miss an assignment. He was right where he was supposed to be on every play. He didn't look like a freshman tonight, which was good. He has at times this year looked like a freshman. Tonight he did not. He's dangerous. So we don't know what the situation is with Michael, but it's a good time for Devin. As JT said, he got his opportunity. He was ready.
Mm-hmm. Zooming out on the bigger picture, Utah lost tonight. So what does that mean for the Pac12 South race, if there even is a race? I believe it's a three-way tie now with Arizona State, Utah, and USC now. How does this work out going forward?
Well, USC's got by far the easier schedule. I mean, or easiest of the three, with Cal and finishing up with Cal and UCLA, whereas both of those teams have to play Oregon. I think Arizona State has to play Arizona on the road, I believe. And Utah has to play Colorado. It's sort of a rivalry game. And Utah lost their quarterback, Tyler Huntley. Yeah. So I'm not sure. And, Utah's never won the division, never gotten to the championship game. They get to November, and something always seems to happen, and the wheels come off. And I'm sure they're thinking, man, the wheels just came off for us. But because USC's lost the tiebreaker to both those teams, they've got to have both of them lose, and USC can't lose. So, but, they're in a position where, as we said, they can walk backwards from here to, or from USC to Santa Clara to that championship game. And who knows? I guess if you back in, if you're still there, it means something, I'm guessing. But who knows how this Pac-12 is going to play out.
Yeah, who knows with the Pac-12? It's madness. But any final thoughts before we wrap it up from Achille Corvallis?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. We just like to always say no and then always have a final thought. The final thought is tonight, I don't know that means all that much other than it wasn't a disaster. It didn't stop you. It didn't end the season. It didn't ruin everything. It wasn't that. But what really matters is what happens next week and the week after. I mean, and, those are the games that matter. You have to win this game. You're so much more talent than an Oregon State has. But does this get you, to practice better, to practice harder, to finish plays, to not, make the bad snaps, to not, commit the dumb penalties? I don't know. We'll know next week. But it gives them a chance to aim at next week and the week after.
Yeah.
And had they not, made it happen here tonight, there would be no chance of anything other than, let's get rid of everybody.
Yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up from Corvallis. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.